All right, today we're going to take a look at an interesting kind of tool. It is one of those where the brand name becomes the common name too. This is called a Ramset, right? And a more generic name for it would be a powder actuated tool, meaning that it does not get its power from, say, swinging a hammer or electricity or compressed air or anything like that, but it gets its power from a blank round. This is like a 22 caliber shell without a bullet attached to it. It's just there to provide that fast expanding gas that would normally in a firearm, that expanding gas in the chamber would drive inside the shell, inside the round, would drive the bullet out of the round and into the into the barrel and push it down the barrel really fast and out the end of the gun, right? So in this case, what it's going to do, the power that comes out of this is going to activate a piston inside here, and that piston is going to drive this thing out from the end of the Ramset really fast, and it's going to allow us to drive into things you wouldn't expect to be able to, right? We're just going to do it today. We're just going to try driving into a piece of concrete, through a piece of wood into a piece of concrete. Now you can't just take any regular wire nail, any steel nail, you know, even one from a nail gun or whatever, and put it in here, expect it to work. It's a really specialized nail, very strong, and able to withstand that sudden high-speed shock. It's going to drive it down into the thing, right? So the blank goes right inside here. Right inside there is a little, I don't know if you can see it there, is a little chamber, and inside here is going to be a firing pin. When we close it up and pull the trigger, the firing pin is going to activate the little primer here on this round. The primer is built into the rim, and when it gets smashed, it'll create a spark, which ignites the powder inside here, which will open up that crimped end and blast up the high pressure expansion of the gases to drive the pin through here. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, this pin also has just a little rubber thing on it, like a little skirt, and the whole purpose for that is just to hold it in place, so when I go and put this down to shoot it into the thing, it's not going to fall out, right? I'm going to load it in a second when I'm ready to actually fire it. So I'm going to reposition the camera now on the spot where we're going to drive it, and we'll see what happens, right? Okay, so we're going to drive this pin or nail into this 2x4 and use the nail to fasten the 2x4 to the concrete. A real common place that you do this is when you're doing construction inside a building and you want to fasten the bottom of a wall in place on a concrete floor, right? I mean, on some construction, the subfloor is just made of wood. It's easy enough to put screws or shoot nails into it or whatever, right, with a normal nail gun. But in order to drive into concrete, you need that nail to be really strong and to go in really fast. Okay, so my idea here is to put this into the chamber and position it like that, and when I close it, it's still not ready to fire yet until I press this up against the wood. When I press that against the wood, then it'll be loaded, and pulling the trigger will actually make it fire. The other thing I really need to do is make sure that there's no wiggle. I've got to make sure that this board is held down tight against the concrete. Okay, I'm going to put my foot on there. Hopefully that's not blocking the shot. Here we go, and okay. Now we can see that the nail is set. Not only did it drive into the concrete, it went well into the board. I'll take the camera off and get a little closer just for a minute, and you can see there how that nail is driven down past the surface of the wood, and when I lift this up, I'm going to go here and just use my foot to lift up the board. Whoops, sorry. Lift up the board, and that concrete is really well attached to that 2x4, right? So if you imagine this being fastened down to a concrete floor, this 2x4 is going to stay in place really well, right? And that's going to be a very handy thing. It's much faster than other fastening methods for attaching wood to concrete or wood to steel. It goes really quick. And here we see what's left of that little rubber thing is laying there. And when I pull this open now, when I pull open the Ramset, you see a little tiny bit of smoke there, and that spent shell comes out. And hopefully you can see there that the way that when it went off, it blasted that crimped end open to allow the powder charge to come out rapidly. Okay, so that's a Ramset. As a classification, that's called a powder actuated tool.